Puerto Rico, how you doing, man? We're going to let a few more people come in here, and we're going to start talking about the events of the weekend. Everybody come in, find a seat. Make sure that you have some sticky icky or mind altering alcohol with you. Sorry, just taking care of a little housekeeping while some more people come in the room here. Canada. Well, listen to this. Look at this. I got two comments so far. One's from Puerto Rico, one's from Canada. Two fantastic places to be. All right, so then we're going to go here. That. It's the 24th. We'll learn how to fucking spell. Hello, everybody. Come on in. We're waiting for more people to come in, and then we're going to start talking about the events of the weekend. We're going to smoke some dubage. We're gonna compare notes. Is what we're going to do. Here are the chairs. Yes, everybody get a seat. Make sure that you've got a partner. This is a BYOB kind of scenario, so nothing's going to be provided for you. We do not have a luncheon. Oh, a bag of weed, oh, everything is better with a bag of weed. Oh, you don't need meth and you don't need speed because everything is better with a bag of weed. Well, there's somebody in here called I Hate Everyone. That's harsh. I just need to do one more thing. Give me a minute. We're letting some people come in here. We got 42 people in here. If you could please tap the fuck out of the screen, it's going to help blow the live up. There's a little arrow on your screen. Chris, how you doing? Share the live with somebody. Tabby? Okay. Share the live. Send it in a text message. Share it to your Facebook, your Threads, your Bluesky. So what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about that staged event at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. As soon as I put this poll up about the White House Correspondents' Dinner. If you prefer a bag of chips, my man, then have at it. I'm not gonna say a damn word. Okay, correct the spelling there. Correct the spelling there. And post. Okay, where are we at here? We got 55 people in here. What? What do you want me to play? Lawson? So let's get out of there. Let's get out of there. Let's minimize that. And let's get the conversacate in here, which I know is not a real word, but I don't give a fuck. It's my live and I just made it up. Yes, I am live right now. Enjoy your content. Thank you very much, Grinch. You like the guitar? Thank you very much. It's a D'Angelico. Chris, that's exactly what I think is going on here. I think that Donald Trump is willing to fake and stage assassination attempts in order to garner support for what he needs in the moment. He was losing in that election, and then Butler happened, and he has never mentioned the name of the Butler shooter, not once. In all of the time he has spoken to the media, the press, or held a rally, he has never once talked about the gentleman who allegedly took his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. This man, Donald Trump, is still feuding with Rosie O'Donnell because she made fun of him on television over 20 years ago. He still brings her up constantly, but he's never mentioned the guy that tried to unalive him. He's never been to a White House Correspondents' Dinner as president, all 4 years in the first term, and he didn't go last year. Now he's trying to get a ballroom built. The judges keep pushing back on him. In March, he's got a case before the federal judge talking about how, we need this for national security. Because if all of our important people are going to be in one ballroom, it should be at our White House. Then he announces he's going to finally attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner after 5 years of missing it. And then a judge says you can't do that. You can't say that we need to have this ballroom for national security. You got to come up with another reason. And all of a sudden, for the first time ever, there's a shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner from a guy who wrote anti-Trump policy things on social media, but only moments before the alleged shooting. I'm not buying this shit for a minute. And in unison, the entire right wing is on social media talking about this is why we need a ballroom. This guy was trying to get you to stop talking about Iran, his shitty poll numbers, and garner support for the ballroom. I don't believe that shit was real for a goddamn second. There is nothing you will ever be able to tell me, ever, to make me believe that actually happened. I should correct that. It happened, but it was staged. I don't believe it for a fucking second. This man is that evil. He will, once again, all of this is my opinion, he will stage assassination attempts to garner support for what he wants. I don't believe it for a goddamn second. Grinch. Yeah, it's completely fucking staged. Listen, you can call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but none of this adds up. None of this adds up. And nothing can explain away why Donald Trump has never once spoken about the man that allegedly took his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. Once again, I'll repeat. He still fights with Rosie O'Donnell by name because she made fun of him 20 years ago. But he has never mentioned in a rally, in a press interview, in a press conference, in an interview for a book or a magazine, he's never once mentioned the name or the situation and the name of the guy who allegedly took his life or tried to take his life or the situation that happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. Bull pucky. That dog don't hunt. That dog don't hunt. Why do we tolerate Donald Trump? Because it is our system. He's our president. There's nothing that can be done about it. I have serious blocked for sure. Says, dude, you have serious TDS and brain damage. And now you're blocked for sure. See? It was like you predetermined your own destiny. It's like you woke up this morning and went, you know what? I'm going to go on Beyonce's internet and be a complete and utter dumb fuck. I heard what Caroline Levitt said. I heard what Caroline Levitt's husband said. I saw the reactions of the crowd. And by the way, Donnie better watch his fucking back. Did you guys see the video? They got J.D. Vance off that stage before they got Donnie out of his fucking chair. Erica Kirk walking out of the fucking ballroom sobbing. I just want to go home. Oh, now you want to go home? What's wrong, boo? The camera's not on you? Is that what's going on? You've been doing a fucking victory tour with pyrotechnics and dancers and interviewers ever since your husband lost his life. Now you want to go home? Oh, Tom, she might be suffering from PTSD. I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it. Now you want to go home? Well, maybe you should listen to what your husband said before he lost his life. That women who are over 30 and mothers should just stay at home. They shouldn't be leaders of industry. So you want to go home? Take your ass back home. Live by the rules that your husband set forth. Go on. Where are her kids? Being raised by a fucking nanny. being raised by a fucking nanny. First time joining live. Hope you have a great day. I'm gonna have a great day. I just got back from an out of town trip. Uh, Literally an hour ago, hour and a half ago. We're uh, we're doing a little bit of this and doing a little bit of that. Oh yeah, there's video. I'll be doing a video about it tomorrow, Chris. There's the video footage from the side of the stage is the agents rushing the stage to get Vance and Trump off the stage. The agents in charge of Vance literally grabbed him by the coat and pulled him off his chair and got him off the stage. And you see him exit the stage before the team that is on Trump even gets him out of the chair. Then they turn him, they begin to get him off the stage, and Trump falls flat on his face on the stage, and they got to pick him up and continue to get him off the stage. They had JD Vance off the stage faster than shit through a goose. If there was actually a shooter in the room, Donnie wouldn't have been alive. And I understand that he wasn't in the room. I'm just saying the reaction time of Vance's team versus Trump's team was dramatically different. What am I looking at here? What happened to the shooter? He's in custody. He's from California. That's the other shit that doesn't make any sense. Okay? This guy is a highly educated teacher from California who bought guns legally in California and then allegedly went from California through Chicago to Washington, D.C. This fucking guy had a hotel room at the hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was going to be happening the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which you can't get. You got to book that shit months in advance. But he got a room. He got a room. Okay. Okay. What, Alex? Could you repeat that? Actually, it wasn't poor security. It was poor-ish security in that you would think that you wouldn't even be able to get into the building with a weapon, but the security was set up that you couldn't get into the ballroom with a weapon. So you could be in the building with a weapon, which is how he had a weapon in the building. And he tried to, allegedly, get into the ballroom, and that's when they stopped him. None of this adds up. None of it. Thank you for the 100. Guys, thank you for tapping the screen and the hearts, because that helps boost the live into the For You page. If you're not aware, yes, YouTube has a For You page as well, and the more you watch of somebody's content, the more you interact with somebody's content, the more the app is going to give you content like that. Thank you for the floating heart. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for the taps. Thank you for all of that. Greatly appreciated. Yes, Erica Kirk. None of this is adding up. None of it. Once again, we'll just since we've got some more people in the room, let me briefly go over it again. Donald Trump has not attended the White House Correspondents' Dinner the previous 5 years he's been president. The first 4 years of his first term, or the 4 years of his first term, and the first year of this term. Never attended. He's fighting in court to have his ballroom done, and the judges keep pushing back on him. In March, he's got a case in front of a judge talking about how hey, we need this ballroom for national security. If all the important people in our country are in one ballroom, we want it to be at the White House, right? It's not looking good for him. And all of a sudden, he announces he's finally going to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner for the first time after 6 years of being president. And we have the first shooting in White House Correspondents' Dinner history, and it just so happens to come on the heels of that very same federal judge saying you cannot use national security as a reason to compel your ballroom from getting built. I'm sorry. I don't believe Butler. I don't believe Mar-a-Lago, and I don't believe this. Not one fucking... And I used to believe Butler. I thought Butler was real up until very recently. And things aren't adding up when it comes to Butler either. This man, in my opinion, is willing to fake assassination attempts in order to garner support for what he needs in the moment. I don't believe one fucking second of this. He needed you to stop talking about the fact that he has the worst poll numbers he has ever had, poll numbers that are worse than Joe Biden ever had in his entire 4 years. The fact that the Iran war is a massive failure and everybody's talking about it. The economy is shit. He needed to get your eyes and ears off of that, and he needed support for his fucking ballroom. And what did he do? After this staged event, he goes back to the White House and in a tuxedo goes, see, this is why we need the ballroom. And in unison, everybody on the right takes to social media and says, yep, this is why we need the ballroom. Vincent, hello? I don't believe it for a goddamn second. Not for a goddamn second. And let me just say this. And this is something that needs to be said, and I'm going to be doing more content about this more frequently. We still don't have the fucking Epstein files. There are still 3 million files that have not been released, and the 3 million that were released were illegally redacted. We went to war with Iran for 2 reasons. Stop talking about Epstein and do whatever the fuck Bibi Netanyahu says. He got bullied into a war that he thought was going to benefit him at a time when the Epstein files were coming down on him like a ton of lead. And now he needs you to stop talking about the war and the shitty poll numbers and the cost of gas and the economy and the fact that he keeps telling you that the strait is open, but yet we can't get a fucking ship through it. We've decimated their military, but yet they can still control the strait. And for the first time since he's been president, he attends the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Why didn't Biden release the files? Because they were under court order sealed, dummy. We've been over it a million times. I'm sorry. I can't be kind about this anymore. I've done 3 fucking dozen videos about this. He couldn't legally do it. And the little bit that he was allowed to do via the courts, he did release. The 33,000 files that we had released at the time Trump took office were released by Biden. Is your head that far up your fucking ass, man? Where do you think the first 33,000 came from? And why didn't Biden release them, when you know why, isn't an answer why Donnie won't release them. He signed the fucking bill that was the law that said you gotta release them. Come on, man. Don't be stupid. You're being stupid now. Stupid's not a good look. Stop it. I swear to God, you guys got to get some new fucking material, man. You really do. It's going to be 10 years down the road, and you motherfuckers are going to be blaming Biden for shit. It's as dumb as when Donald Trump blamed Obama for the fact that we had no PPE, allegedly. Well, he left the shelves bare. Okay, you've been in office for 3 years. Why didn't you restock the shelves? Well, he left them bare. Okay, then why didn't you restock them? I mean, that's what it sounds like, man. Come on. Did I see Trump smirk on stage? No, I did not. Grinch, you're right. Stupid does seem to be the factory setting for these fucking people these days. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That is true. That has been true for, well, forever. Stupid is as stupid does. Exactly. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, you want to know why this guy can get away with faking these attempts like this? Because his supporters are that fucking stupid. Because they will believe whatever the fuck he says, whatever the fuck he feeds them. That's why we get this shit, because they are literally that stupid. Because his supporters believe shit like Hillary Clinton was eating babies in the non-existent basement of a New Jersey pizza parlor. Jewish space lasers started the California wildfires in order to make way for a high-speed rail system that was going to be owned by the Rothschilds. stupid conspiracy shit like that. That are all lies, that are all bullshit. JFK's still alive. Princess Diana's still alive. Michael Jackson's still alive, and JFK Jr. is still alive. And they're all secretly working with Donald Trump to rid the world of international pedophile rings. This is shit that these people have actually believed at some point in time. I mean, the disconnect with reality is fucking insane, man. Okay, here, let me give you an example, if I could, please. There's a woman in the town that I live in that is so fucking deranged. Her mind is so fucking shot that these are the conversations we would have prior to the 2020 election. Okay, I fucked around with these Trumpers in the town that I live in, on a social media, on a Facebook community page for a few years leading up to the 2020 election. And once Donald Trump lost that election, I got out of that fucking page and just wrote them off. But while I was in there and having these conversations, there was this one woman who was a bartender here in town, who constantly believed that Donald Trump was playing three-dimensional chess, and he was always 5 steps ahead of everybody else. And every time he did something outlandish that was insane that nobody could believe, it was designed to bring the press into his trap, right? And so I'm talking to her about Donald Trump's alleged connections and ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And she's denying that any of that was actually real. And I said to her, then how do you explain all of the videos and photographs of the two of them at that time? I mean, it sure seems like it was real. She said, oh no, they actually did those things, but he wasn't actually friends with them. I said, elaborate, please. And this is what she told me. I swear to God, this is what this woman told me. She told me in the fucking room, in the public room, the other Trumpers, by the way, were like, Jesus Christ, she's fucking crazy. Like, even they couldn't believe how nuts she was. She told me that Donald Trump devised a plan back in the 80s to get all of the international pedophiles. And in order to do that, he needed to pretend to be friends with people like Jeffrey Epstein so he could dig up the intel he needed. But then once he had the intel, he jettisoned Jeffrey Epstein, in the early 90s. He jettisoned Jeffrey Epstein, and then he sat on this intel until he had the power to do something about it, which is when he became president. And so I said to her, okay, so let's just assume that that's true for a moment. You're telling me that Donald Trump sat on information about child trafficking for decades until he could become president? She said, yeah. Okay. Are you joking? Are you fucking with me? Are you trying to get a rise out of me? No, he is constantly playing three-dimensional chess. You don't understand. He's been planning all of this ever since the 80s. Why do you think that Jeffrey Epstein only went to prison once Donald Trump got president? I'm like, seriously, are you fucking with me? Other people were asking her in the conversation, are you fucking with him? And she doubled and tripled down on this theory of hers. And the fucked up part about it is that she's not alone in thinking that stuff. She's not alone. These people at one point in time believed that John F. Kennedy was going to reveal that he was still alive in the square in the plaza where he was assassinated, so that his son, who's dead, Michael Jackson, who's dead, and Princess Diana, who's dead, could expose the world's secrets to everybody. That John F. Kennedy Jr. was going to expose all of the political secrets. Princess Diana was going to expose all of the secrets of the royal family. And Michael Jackson was going to expose all of the secrets of Hollywood and the entertainment world. And it was all being directed by JFK himself. The fuck are you talking about, man? Are you insane? No, man, this shit's real. No, it's not even fucking close to being real. It's fucking frightening that you believe shit like this. It's legitimately frightening. Because if a man can make you believe this, a man can make you do shit that you might not otherwise do in order to benefit him. That's how men get cults going. That's how people gather in Central and South American cults and drink the Flavor Aid. That's how people gather in the building in Waco, Texas, and they don't come out, even when the tank comes through the front door with the flames shooting out of the front of it. Because they live and die by this man. I heard a telephone interview just the other day, or yesterday. Hell, it might even have been this morning, where this guy's on a phone interview with a cable news show, and he's telling them about his parents. He's saying that you don't understand. My parents don't pray for Trump, they pray to Trump. This guy's father literally believes that Donald Trump is born without sin. He is God in human flesh. He sent himself to save his people. Donald Trump. Donald Trump, the guy who has cheated on every one of his wives and cheated on the women he was cheating on his wives with, a guy who bankrupted 5 casinos, a guy who's got a spray-on tan, a guy who couldn't tell the truth to save his life, a guy who can't focus long enough to read a chapter of a fucking teleprompter in a speech, a guy who has cheated everybody he has ever done business with. This is their fucking guy, who they believe is actually God. That's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. Here's the thing. I just saw a friend of mine do a video saying this. And goddamn is it true. I'm in the camp that I believe that what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was staged, just like Butler was staged. I don't believe a moment of either one of it. And this guy he did a video and he said, listen, I see people on here saying it was staged. And I see people on here saying, come on, man, it could not have possibly been staged. We got to be better than that. And what he says at the end of it is, the fact that we are in a spot in American history where you could hear, there's no way it could be staged and believe it, and hear, oh, it's absolutely staged and believe it. The fact that for the last 10 years he has sown so much distrust, division, and has caused so much harm to so many people that you could believe either one of them is a fucked up place to be in American history. What a fucked up place to be in American history. That you could hear something like Butler and the White House Correspondents' Dinner were staged. Yeah, my son's out there doing lawn work. He likes that money. You could hear that this could possibly be staged and go, yeah, I can see that. Thank you, Vincent, for the first donation of the day with the $1.99 pitch-in. I greatly appreciate that. As you know, I make all of my money on here now, so that goes a long way. I appreciate that. But I'm not playing games here. I don't fucking believe this shit for 1 second. Let's break it down once again, really quickly, for the new people who have come into the live. Donald Trump he's been president for 5 years. The first term and the first year of this term, he's never attended the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now he's got cases before judges about the ballroom. And in March, he finally says, you know what? I'll finally go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I'll go. And then all of a sudden, one of those cases, he gets an unfavorable ruling. You can't use national security as a reason to compel your ballroom from getting built. And then all of a sudden, the first time Donald Trump attends the White House Correspondents' Dinner is the first time we ever have a shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And the guy who did the shooting is from California and had a room in the hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was happening on the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, something you got to book months in advance for that fucking night, for that fucking hotel, and he had a fucking room. And oh, by the way, it's now being reported that... Hang on. I gotta deal with something. Forgive me for a second. Sorry, guys. We'll get back to talking about that in just a second. Okay, so where is this? Sorry, guys. I have to deal with a slight thing real quick. Give me 1 second. Okay, where are you? Sorry, I just got a notification that I need to address really quickly. Where are you? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Sorry, guys. We're going to get back to this conversation in just one moment. Okay, so there we go. Gone forever, Aaron Hernandez. Okay, where were we? Hey, Mark, we don't use that word here. Sorry. So that's one and only warning there. We don't use that word here. Where was I in that fucking rant? Load a bowl? I don't do the bowls. I don't do the bowls. I do joints. Oh, Erica Kirk is that's fake as fuck. What word? I don't know what word. The death cult. Yeah, I'm sure I was ranting. I just don't know where I was ranting within the death cult. Here's the bottom line. The reason why he is going to be able to get away with things like this. Thank you for the $2 donation. Why was the gunman shirtless in the photo? Another good question. Oh, I know where I was. How the fuck did he get a room in the hotel of the White House Correspondents' Dinner the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner? That's something that you have to book months in advance. But he had a room. He traveled across multiple states with multiple weapons to get there and had a room. He only had anti-Trump policy postings or writings on social media moments before the shooting. Literally, that's what they're reporting. That he sent anti-Trump policy writings to his family right before he did this. And then his family called the local authorities. So Trump never attends a White House Correspondents' Dinner. He needs support for his ballroom. He argues that we need it for national security. A judge says you can't use national security as a reason to compel your ballroom into getting built. He then attends the White House Correspondents' Dinner for the first time after being in office an entire term and a year last year. Never goes to any of them. He finally goes to the first one, and we have the first ever White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting from a guy who only sent anti-Trump writings to his family moments before the shooting happened. A guy who's a highly educated teacher from California. Donald Trump doesn't freak out when gunshots are fired. He goes right back to the White House in his tuxedo, addresses the press, and says, see, this is why we need a ballroom. In unison, people on the right take to social media and say, see, this is why we need a ballroom. I'm sorry, it doesn't fly. It doesn't fly. As the folks who would vote for Trump most often would say, that dog don't hunt. And oh, by the way, let's go back to Butler, Pennsylvania. I keep beating this drum. Donald Trump still calls out Rosie O'Donnell by name on social media and in interviews over 20 years after she made fun of him on national television. But the guy who allegedly took his life in Butler, Pennsylvania, he never mentions. Not in a post, not in a book interview, not in a phone interview, not in a press conference, not at a rally. He never mentions this guy. And then it's being reported that his DOJ shuts down the investigation into his assassination. He tried to shoot the president. We got everything we need. We don't need to investigate anything else. Really? You shut down the investigation into your own assassination attempt? Oh, Randy, you can blow me. Oh, Randy. Randy. You filthy son of a bitch, Randy. Corey Comparatori. We talk about Travis. Is Randy back? Yeah, he's in the room. He never mentions any of the alleged attacks on him. Supposedly, he took a bullet to the ear from a guy trying to blow his brains out, and he never mentions the guy. Corey Comparatori thought it was staged. The guy who died? No, I think Donald Trump is willing to sacrifice his own followers in order to stage an assassination attempt on him to get the kind of support he needs in the moment. That's what I believe. I believe he doesn't give a rat's fucking ass. How come he never really talks about that fucking guy either? Yeah, I think Donald Trump would gladly sacrifice any one of you in order to gain the support he needs in the moment for whatever it is he's fighting that day. What is he fighting right now? He's got a war he can't win that he keeps telling you he's already won, but yet he can't get a single ship through the strait. He's got tanking poll numbers. His poll numbers, his approval rating is lower than any of Joe Biden's lowest approval ratings. He is at his lowest point, at the lowest point at this stage in the presidency than any other president has ever been. The economy is in the fucking tank. Gas is expensive. And he needs you to stop talking about all of that, including no longer talking about the Epstein files. So what do? We go to war because he gets bullied by Bibi Netanyahu and he needs a distraction from Jeffrey Epstein. That all goes bad. The economy goes tits up, and now we have the first ever White House correspondence dinner shooting on the first night Donald Trump ever attended as president, even though he's been president for 6 years. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes total fun. If you believe that, you are dumber than a bag of rusty wrenches. Independents have Trump. Yes, independents have Trump at an overall approval rating of 23%. You know what that does to the Republicans' chances in 2026? Kicks them right in the old mommy daddy button is what it does. I heard about the IDF. I haven't seen a T-shirt. I haven't seen it. Rusty wrenches are more useful than the conspiracy theorists I'm hearing. Well, here, let me block you so you don't have to hear it anymore. See, actually, I didn't block you. I just muted you so you can still hear it and you can still comment, but you can't. We can't see it. So, see, I'm not only am I a content creator, not only am I a father, not only am I a grandfather, not only am I a small business owner. I am a life coach, and I just gave you some life coaching for free. I just made sure we didn't have to hear you bitching about the fact that you have to listen to something that nobody's making you listen to. Solving problems, man. What can we do to make things better? The first thing you can do is take a hit off your joint. The second thing you can do is make sure you are registered to vote. Not only that you're registered to vote, but that you continue to check your registration in no matter what state you are in every month until you get to the election, especially if you're in a red state. And then you need to make sure that you have a plan on how you're going to vote. Are you going to vote by mail? Are you going to go into a polling place early? Are you going to go in on election day? What is your What is your plan on how you're going to vote? And then you need to talk to like-minded individuals, family, friends, co-workers. You need a ride? You want to make a day of it? Tom, do I think Tyler actually took out Charlie Kirk? No. Or if he did, it's because he was ordered to do so. He was hired to do so, in my opinion. quit supporting rich people any way you can. Be diligent about your spending. Unfortunately, I understand what you're saying. It's not as easy as one can make it out to be in some instances, especially when you're talking about places that are more rural. Sometimes, as a matter of fact, where they don't have a lot of grocery options, and maybe a DG market comes into town, and then they can have something, but it's from a big corporation. You know what I mean? Here's the deal. That's what I'm saying. What happened to Charlie Kirk didn't happen by some fucking rando on a roof. That was precision. That was precision. And what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania was another precision, because somebody lost their life. There was a there was a shot fired in Butler, Pennsylvania. It just wasn't aimed at Donald Trump, in my opinion. 73-year-old vet in Florida. Check your voter registration every month. Yes, 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 yes. And then not just in Florida, especially in red states, but everywhere. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you check your voter registration every month. Make sure you have a plan on how you're going to vote. The only way this changes is if you show up to the polling place and you vote for a Democrat on your ballot. Period. If you want to see the Epstein files, you better vote Democrats into control, because it's not going to happen as long as Republicans control the House or the Senate. Well, the House. But the Senate is a problem as well. You got to get out and vote. What about the crazy guy at Mar-a-Lago with the gasoline? Was that staged? Once again, have you heard anything about these guys? That's what I'm saying. And I know you're not arguing with me. My point is, Donald Trump talks about everything he possibly can all the time, in any scenario, in any moment. Like I said, he still argues, he still brings up Rosie O'Donnell over 20 years later. But he has never mentioned either of those two guys. Ever. Watch. He's never going to mention this guy. Barack Obama was so hated by the right that when he got inaugurated the first time around, 2009, the FBI reported that threats on the president's life increased. It spiked over 400%. That's how hated Barack Obama was. Yet in 8 years, thank you very much, Dancing Lobster. Hang on 1 second for a reply. In 8 years as president, the man who was that hated never had a single shot fired at him. But Donnie has 3 in 2 years? Come on. A guest at the hotel who was there for the event confirmed that on any given day, a key card is needed in order to get to any floor, but that standard safety measure was disabled that night. Well, the reports are also that this gentleman had a room. And therein lies the question. How does this random fucking teacher from California get a room in that hotel on the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, something that you probably need to book a year in advance? When the last one finishes, people are booking their rooms in that hotel for the next one. But this guy had a room? This guy, who's a teacher from California, a legal gun owner from California, went from California to Chicago to Washington, D.C. with multiple guns and had a room inside the hotel where all of Washington, D.C.'s elite are going to be on a night you can't get a fucking room. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. I mean, listen, I was born at night, but it wasn't last fucking night. That's not a thing. I mean, come on, man. But now, what's everybody talking about? The ballroom. Look, if the ballroom was at the White House and built by military contractors, we could control everybody that comes in and out of it, and we wouldn't have issues like this. We wouldn't have events like this. That's what everybody's talking about today. Why? Donnie's trying to garner support from his ballroom while simultaneously trying to get you to stop talking about how bad the economy is, how much gas is, how much you're paying for your health insurance, why he can't win a war he said he's already won, and the Epstein files. Last night, everybody in unison on the right took to social media. Who do we have? Watchdog. No, he's in custody. The guy from last night's in custody. Old dude, stop calling Trump daddy. Show some respect. He is the leader of the country. Blow me. You can kiss my entire ass. We're going to go ahead and hide you as well. So you can keep commenting and you can keep hearing what I say, but we don't have to see anything that you type. So get fucked and stay fucked. With the whole fucking fist. And when you're up there, give yourself a little bit of the how's your father. You know what I mean? Make it worth your time. Anything worth doing is worth doing right. You know what I mean? Trump deserves zero respect. Trump deserves zero respect. Un momento, por favor. To the bookshelf we go. Here we go. Right here. Why Trump deserves trust, respect, and admiration. Okay? Why Trump deserves Trump respect and admiration. Best $8 I ever spent. Best goddamn $8 I ever spent on Amazon. There isn't a fucking word in that goddamn book. Yes, that's an actual book right there. It's by David King, political analyst. Why Trump deserves trust, respect, and admiration. I bought it on Amazon. The whole fucking thing is empty. Not a fucking, well, Peter Sinclair Publishing, Ltd., all rights reserved. Yep, and then not another word after it. Not one fucking word. The only words are on the cover and the back. And the back says, drawing upon exclusive interviews and exhaustive research, political analyst David King has compiled a complete and brilliantly accurate account of Donald Trump's virtues and qualities. This is a refreshingly different biographical masterpiece. It's like $8. Like I said, it was the best goddamn $8 I ever spent. I couldn't buy that thing fast enough. It's like, fuck, I hope you make $1 billion selling that thing. Brilliant. Had I thought about it, I'd have fucking published the goddamn thing. Hell, I've got 2 self-published books already. If I'd have thought about that, fuck yeah, that's the pet rock of our time right there, boys and girls. This shit's fucking awesome. Yep. Caroline Levitt said something weird. Caroline Levitt's husband said something weird. Once again, let's break it down once again. Just take it step by step. Donald Trump is in a really bad spot. He's got a war he can't win, but he keeps telling you it's already been won. He's got a really bad economy. He's got 23% approval rating among independents, and overall, he's got a lower approval rating than Joe Biden has ever had in his entire presidency. Gasoline's through the roof. You got the Epstein files. Shit is going bad. They're steamrolling towards a disastrous midterms. And he is trying to get this goddamn ballroom built. And he keeps fighting in court. And he keeps getting bad decisions in court. And he's fighting in court in March, saying that we need the ballroom for national security reasons. That if we're ever going to throw an event, with our nation's leaders, we need to have the ballroom at the White House to protect them. And it's not going well for him. Now, all of a sudden, Donald Trump announces he's going to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner in April. You were president for 4 years in your first term, you never went. Last year you were president, you didn't go. 5 years as president, you've never been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now all of a sudden you want to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Out of the blue. 2 months in advance. Not even 2 months. A month in advance. I'm going to go. And then he gets a hearing, a ruling that says you can't use national security as a reason to compel your ballroom into being built. He then attends the White House Correspondents' Dinner for the first time ever, and we have the first ever shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner from a guy who's a teacher from California who had a room in the hotel the night of the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, a room you can't book less than a year in advance, and yet he had a room and walked in with a shotgun, a rifle. Traveled from California through Chicago to Washington, D.C. to do this. And immediately upon this happening, Donald Trump goes back to the White House, addresses the press, and says, see, this is why we need a ballroom. And in unison, right-wingers take to social media and say, see, this is why we need a ballroom? Come on. Come on. Exactly. The ballroom is a bunker. We've already found this out through court hearings, through court findings. He's already admitted to it. They're going to build some kind of military bunker underneath the ballroom. Okay. Now it's 2028. He can't run for president again. He's going to lose all of his power. He knows it. Where do you think he's going to go? He's going to go to the bunker. Right? I'm just saying. Gonna have to drag him out of there like Saddam Hussein. Which, listen, if that's what it comes to, I just hope that they have body cams on so we can see the footage. Why do they need a room for their balls if they have none? Ba-dum-bum. What's going on here? Do I have any mods in the room? Do we have some trolls? If I have any mods in the room and we have trolls, just mute them. Just snipe them. Well, I mean, not like that, but with your powers to mute them. Yeah, just if a troll pops up, just go. I'm not even in the mood today. Fuck them. Fuck them. I am done with people for the moment who support a guy who is willing to stage assassination attempts to garner support in the moment. Fuck them. Snipe them all. Mute them all. Appeals court ruled last week that the ballroom could proceed. But I thought that, well, whatever. He did get a bad ruling on it, and he's most likely going to lose when this ballroom gets to wherever the hell it's going to be. What about the same as the basement? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what you're saying. My apologies. Third wag the dog moment. I'm telling you, in my opinion, this guy is willing to do damn near anything. A little bit young. Don't mute Young. He's not a troll. What is this here? God damn it, YouTube. Stop hiding comments. Thank you for the donation, Wim. I greatly appreciate it. Half a puff's worth. Hey, half a puff is important. You know what I mean? Sometimes a half a puff is all you need to, pull start the morning. See, I'm stimulating the economy. I already spent Wim's donation right into the economy. Did you change time thing? What? Yeah, we got Conley, we got Chris. Awesome. We're covered. Jesus fuck. Out here worrying for no goddamn reason. Oh, look at this. Leslie coming in with another donation of $10. Love your content. I greatly appreciate that. If anybody, just briefly, while we're having this conversation about the alleged shooting, and we're going to continue that, if anybody wants to financially support the page, I have a $4.99 a month membership. You'll see the people in the comment section whose names are lit up and have little stickers there. That's what you get if you're a member. It's a way to financially support the work I do. And if you become a member, I greatly appreciate you. And to the couple hundred people that are members, thank you very much for financially supporting the page. Also, the best way you could support my page is to just watch the content, those ads that they put on the videos. I get a share of the revenue YouTube gets from that for you guys watching it. So, that's the best way you can do it. Now, back to this shooting. That's complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. I don't buy a goddamn second of this. I am firmly in the camp that this man is willing to stage self-assassination attempts in order to garner support in the moment. And if he's willing to do this now, what he's going to be willing to do in 2028/2029 is unimaginable. If he's still alive. If he hasn't had a heart attack, if Mother Nature hasn't taken him from the earth yet. Which I believe is still the most likely path that we're on, that he doesn't actually survive his presidency, but it happens naturally. I think that his health is failing him, and a little over 2 more years of this is going to be extraordinarily draining. Especially when he's up in the middle of the night rage posting for 3, 4, 5 hours. Joe Rogan sucks. Indeed. Yes, Joe Rogan does suck. Massively. Massively. Biology is undefeated. Therein lies the truth of the matter. We're all on our way out the door. Act accordingly. You know what I mean? It's from the moment you're born, you begin to die. Yes, the Secret Service agent did go to the hospital with a bullet wound. I'm not saying that there wasn't a shooting. I'm saying it was staged. A man lost his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. I believe that somebody shot that man. But I don't believe somebody was trying to shoot the president. And I don't believe that that's what happened last night. The only time that the shooter gave any anti-Trump writings or left any anti-Trump writings on social media was literally moments before the shooting, when he sent it to his family via social media. Really? Moments before the shooting. That's what's being reported so far. Now, it's only 24 hours. Maybe they've done a deeper dive. Maybe they've dug deeper onto his social media. But they already said that they scrubbed all of his social media and that they found that he sent this shit right before the shooting. So that doesn't add up. It doesn't add up how he goes from California to Chicago to Washington, D.C. with guns and makes it into a hotel where he has a room that you can't get on last minute notice. You have to book this shit a year in advance. He has a room in the hotel the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And we have the first ever White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting. The first time Donald Trump attends the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which he didn't attend the first 5 years he was president. His entire first term and then last year. And he attends it while he's got a trial going on, or he's attempting to get his ballroom pushed through with the court system when they're trying to stop him, and he's arguing that he needs it for... oh, hey, Randy, I'm sorry. Did I forget to mute you? I apologize. Here, let me handle that for you. There you go. Get fucked, stay fucked, Randy. KKK Levitt husband. Yes. There was an interview with a reporter from the event after it had happened on Fox News. They were on the phone. And the reporter was telling the person at Fox News that she was sitting next to Caroline Levitt's husband, and Caroline Levitt's husband, prior to the shooting, leaned over to her and said, "Hey, we watch you on TV. We think you do good work. Just please be safe tonight." And then the reporter said to the person on Fox News, and then Caroline Levitt's husband looked around the room and said, "There looks like," and then Fox News says that her phone cut out. Well, that's awfully fucking convenient. He donated to Harris via Act Blue. Okay. And I donated to Harris. Does that mean I'm an assassin? Do I believe it was staged? Yes, I do. I don't believe it for 1 second, and that's the really sad part about where we're at as a country. Is that whether you believe there's no way it could be staged or whether you believe it was staged, either one could be true. Because over the course of the last decade, we have seen from the upper echelon so much hatred and division sown in this country that you don't know what the fuck to believe anymore. You don't know. Thank you, Vincent. He took the train. Do trains have low security? I don't know. That's something that I'm going to have to look into. I've never taken a train ride. I believe that you can travel with weaponry on a train. My point being is this guy from California, right? And I know what you're saying. My point being is this guy from California makes his way across the country with guns that he legally owned and gets a hotel room in a hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner is going to be happening the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Once again, something you need to book a year in advance. But this guy had a room. And then he comes downstairs with a fucking rifle and starts fucking blasting. And the only time he wrote anything negative about Trump's policies on social media was when he sent social media messages to his family moments before the shooting. No, that dog don't hunt. That dog don't hunt. This was 100% staged, in my opinion, for legal purposes. I fell? Where did I fall? So it's my understanding, based on people that were there and what I've read, that the security, like, you didn't go through the metal detectors to get into the building. You went through the metal detectors to get into the ballroom, which was why this asshole couldn't get into the ballroom. Or, because he wasn't really trying to get into the ballroom. Well, that's yet to be determined. So, the security to get into the building was not what you would think it would be for the event. And I don't know if that was typical of this event or not, or if it was relaxed for this event. Okay, I'm done with the MILK shit. I mean, I don't know what the fuck this idiot is doing. So, we're going to mute him. There he's gone. The dinner was at the Hilton Hotel. ISIS Hilton Hotels boycott Hilton. So, what is going to happen next? Why, this guy is going to get put in a hole. Disappeared forever. Nobody's ever going to talk about him. Like nobody ever talks about the guy from Butler or the guy from Mar-a-Lago. Tommy? Yeah. All done? Yeah. Open the door, bud. I am live, but...
I thought you were recording, so...
No, I'm live. I'm done recording, I believe, for the day, but I'm going to be live for a little bit. Assuming you're going to take a shower. Yeah. Thank you very much. No problem. I paid you. I moved money into your account, so... You're rich.
Yeah. $40.
Yeah. All right, spend it wisely.
I'm going to. I'm going to use the deals for games.
You got clean clothes for the week?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Do me a huge favor. Never mind.
Like $1 million?
No, can you go put my sheets in the dryer?
Yeah.
You're a god. Thank you. Forgot about my sheets. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. Yeah, he gets paid. Well, he doesn't get paid to mow our lawn. No. He gets to live here. Those are part of chores. But I pay him to mow the neighbor's lawn. The neighbors are a little bit older. They're good people. And the guy wants to still get out and work, so I let him mow his backyard. But our front lawns are connected. They're like one big lawn. So Tommy just runs the line through both lawns, and then he does his side yard, and he string trims and blows over there, and then I pay him for that. And then he goes over and he does my in-laws. That way he stays moving. He earns money that he wants for things rather than just is handed money for things that he wants. The rule is 50% of what he gets paid goes into savings. So, if he gets paid cash to mow a lawn somewhere, he brings it to me and he goes, here, put 10 in my savings and put 10 in my checking because we got him a checking account with a debit card so he can buy like his games and stuff on the computer and things like that. So, yeah. It, listen, the girls had jobs. My daughters had jobs, so he's going to get a fucking job too. And when he turns 16 and he's got a license, he's going to go get a fucking job. And he's going to go do that, and he's going to come back here and mow my lawn. No, I don't know, probably might get a landscaper by then. I don't know. If he's, John Oliver did a whole segment on conspiracies. I suggest you watch it. Yeah, that's fine. I don't give a shit what John Oliver said about conspiracies. I know what I believe. And I don't believe a whole lot of conspiracies. And I think most of the conspiracies you hear out there are just absolutely batshit. Hey, no. Get out of here. Come on. Go on. Skedaddle. Yeah, you're fucking mine. Out of your fucking mind. I got fucking gifts wrapped back here with ribbons on them, and the cat that eats all the strings is in here. Chewing on the fucking strings. I don't need that shit. Anyway, where the fuck are we at? I can't post the whole thing. Did you see my message? No, probably not. I'm sorry. There are a lot of fucking people trying to get their messages through here. Send it to me maybe in a an email. I don't know. Ballroom needs to be built so he can hide, be protected. Day in your mouth. I think that's a thought process of his. I don't know that that's the plan, but it's definitely a thought process. Yes, I believe it was orchestrated and staged. Oh, that cat? Oh, he was living his best goddamn life. I turned around, he had a mouthful of ribbon that was hanging off the fucking president. I was like, Jesus fuck. Here we go. What's the email? The old hippie at oldhippiemedia.com. Should be if you go to the bio of any one of my videos, you go to the description, I should say, of any one of my videos where it describes what the video is about. There's a description of the video itself and some hashtags and some things where it tells you, move forward in the video to this point to hear this or to this point to hear this. And then below that, there are links to all of my social media, all my CashApp, my PayPal, all of that shit, my website, my email, link to where you can buy my books, a link to my merch store, a link to, I think I have an Amazon wish list there. Boy, if I do, I haven't updated that in over a fucking year. And I think that's it. But that's going to be in the description of every one of my videos. Thank you for the floating hearts. Greatly appreciated. You want to be a prison guard on Trump's cell block? He's never going to make it to prison. He's never going to make it to prison. He's old and in failing health and in power right now. He's never gonna see. I don't believe he's ever gonna see the inside. Had he not been reelected, I absolutely believe he would have saw the inside of a jail cell, a prison cell. But he's never gonna serve a day in prison. Donald Trump will never serve a day in prison. Explore. Listen, it is not unheard of when talking about a roast to talk about shots being fired at folks. But when she says that on the night that this happens, and her husband says to a reporter that's sitting next to her, hey, be safe tonight. We like what you do on TV. Just stay safe tonight. That's just, you know what I mean? Shit starts to pile up. And when shit starts to pile up, shit don't make sense. And when shit don't make sense, then shit don't make sense. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, Young. You don't believe in conspiracies until they're proven true. Assassinations, chemtrails, aliens, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, etc. Okay, that's you. Now, do you believe that Lee Harvey Oswald shot John F. Kennedy? Epstein is alive? No, I don't believe Epstein's alive. Yeah, it's not odd how quickly he turned it into a ballroom commercial. It was designed to be a ballroom commercial. See, there's absolutely no physical way that Lee Harvey Oswald could have done the shooting. It's physically impossible. Forget about whether you believe it or not, right? Forget about whether you want it to be true that it was one person or you want it to be true that it was a conspiracy of multiple people. It's physically impossible for him to have done it. So, by that fact, there were more than one person involved. And by that fact, you now have a conspiracy, and Lord knows how many people were involved, especially considering how many different reports of shots were being fired, right? Sometimes these things are insane. Now, that was a true assassination attempt, but I believe it would to be a conspiracy. In this instance, I don't believe this or Butler were actual assassination attempts. I believe that Donald Trump was losing the election and needed something to garner support behind him and enter the Butler situation. Once again, I'll say it for the 10 millionth time. You're talking about a man in Donald Trump that still calls out Rosie O'Donnell by name because she made fun of him over 20 years ago on TV. But he has never spoken about the man that tried to take his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. Not at a rally, not in an interview for a book, not in a press gaggle. Nowhere. He's never blurted out anything about this guy once. The guy that tried to unalive him, allegedly. Come on. And now we get the first White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting in history. The night that Donald Trump finally attends after 5 years of refusing to attend. And while he's got cases in front of judges to try and get his ballroom built, and he's using the argument that we need national security, and a judge told him he can't do that. And then we get this. And then he rushes back to the White House in his tuxedo and stands before the press and says, see, this is why we need a ballroom. And in unison, the voices on the right come out of the woodwork to say, yeah, hey, this is why we need a ballroom. The fuck out of here. There isn't one fucking bit of this that adds up. Not one fucking bit. Not even close to a little bit of this fucking shit adds up. Got to get me one of them bulletproof ballrooms with one of them bunkers. Because you know what happens. When shit hits the fan and you get to the end of your time in office and you're going to lose your power and you can't run for president anymore. What do? You go hide in the bunker. Who else hid in bunkers and basements and tunnels? Saddam Hussein, Mustache Man, a whole bunch of different people. Whole bunch of different people. If this man is willing to fake assassination attempts to garner support in the moment, Lord knows what he's willing to do in 28 and 29. $400 in the chat, is that a record? No, I think the most I ever had in a chat was it in the fives or in the low sixes? But listen, I mean, there are people that get thousands. For me, yeah, it's a good amount of people, given the subject matter. I mean, it's just what we're talking about. It's got nothing necessarily to do with me. It's got to do with the fact that there's a conversation about something that's being talked about. I don't believe Oswald was the sole perpetrator. Okay, there you go. We're on the same page there. Do you think Princess Diana was unalived by Charles? By Charles? No. Do I think the family took her out? Possibly. Oh, Donnie loves to play the victim. By the Queen. See, that's what I tend to lean towards more. She's the fucking queen. Who's barking back at her, How come no talking about the elephant in the room? Guns? I think that the more important subject in the moment is, does the President of the United States stage assassination attempts in order to garner support? I think that's a more important conversation to have than the gun conversation, especially considering that this gentleman owned his guns legally. It's way more important to figure out if the president of the United States is staging assassination attempts to garner support. And if he is he willing to actually take out Americans that support him? Somebody in the background that takes one for Donnie, supposedly? You know what I mean? That's a big. I mean, I know 30,000 people buy guns every year. It's an ongoing problem, but I mean, we got to deal with the leadership first. Is this the most attempts for a president? It's a damn good question. Oh, come on. I didn't ask for that widget thing to come out. There we go. Yeah, they would be fake attempts, but let's for. Okay. I believe it is because they're having. Wait a minute. No, that's not what I asked. Reagan had one. Lincoln had one. Garfield had one. It might be. It might be. I don't know. I'd have to go through this list and count them all and add everybody up. But once again, I don't believe that these are real attempts. So, yeah, ushered into the next room. Yeah, the whole conversation about keeping the night going or not keeping the night going. Here's the thing: if you believe that it was not real, if you believe it was staged, then anything above and beyond that you can't believe, right? Because we're in a period of time where you have an extreme narcissist like Donald Trump who is literally willing to, in my opinion, stage assassination attempts. You don't know what you can believe at this point in time. Didn't Squeaky from him try to. Huh? Google says Obama. How many are they saying for Obama, if you don't mind me asking, Ashton, since you have it up? Ford had two within 17. Okay. Status status quo reporting. Fox had tip about this. Status quo. Sorry, my apologies. It is very difficult. People type very fast, especially when there's a conversation. It's a topic that people want to talk about. Okay, okay. Conley just said something that makes me want to stop everything. Everybody, stop for a moment. Dial it back. I'm not asking about threats. I'm talking about actual attempts. Attempts. Which president has the most actual physical attempts? Candidate slash. So you had Wallace, who was actually shot. That's an attempt, an actual attempt. That's not a threat. You know, I'm trying to differentiate between threat and attempt here. Because if you're talking about just like threats, after Obama was inaugurated, the death threats to the president spiked by over 400%. Other governments had a functional government. Other presidents had a functional government, yes. Reagan had his attempt, but I only think it was the one, I believe. One actual attempt on his life, which led to the Brady Bill. They were all ripped on coke. What? Watch the who announced the event cancellation. She was hammered, or she might have been experiencing. The body reacts to extreme shock because just because the president may have staged it doesn't mean that everybody in the room was in on it. I don't think that the press was in on it. Maybe probably her. No, you know what I mean. Yeah, scientists are disappearing from the globe rapidly. Ford was also never elected. That is correct. He took over for Nixon. They should reschedule the event without Trump. That's the thing. Now he wouldn't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he would not go to it because of it. I saw that yanking wine bottles. Google says Gerald Ford and Abraham Lincoln have the most. There you go. Did they say it? Did they give a number? Stephen Miller used his pregnant wife as a shield. I saw that. I saw that. I also saw RFK Jr. completely surrounded by his detail, being whisked away, and his wife alone following them. There were 11 actual attempts on Obama's life. 11. Like, he was shot at 11 times? Howard Lutnick for prison. Plots are one thing. I'm talking about actual attempts. So, just the red tie is a great target, somebody said. Stephen Miller grabbing his wife. Yes. God, it's such a weird. They're all just fucking small fucking men, you know? Thank you for the 100, Candace. Times 2, times 3, times 5. Thank you. Using her as a human shield. Why no metal detector? There were metal detectors to get into the ballroom, not to get into the hotel, to the building itself, which is why nobody ever actually breached the ballroom, right? The security at the ballroom allegedly worked. But it is odd that you couldn't, that you didn't set up. And I don't know, maybe it's never like that for the Correspondents' Dinner. I got to go back and look, right? Do they never have metal detectors set up for White House Correspondents' Dinners at the hotel? Or is it just to get into the ballroom? Whatever the case may be, Donnie and his minions are certainly using this to push for the ballroom to get built. See, if the ballroom was at the White House, we could be safe and secure. I don't know if Adam Mockler was there. Aaron Parnas was there, and he talked about how you did not need to pass through metal detectors to get into the building, just to get into the ballroom. Oh, I doubt that. You say the world has never been so hostile until now. I mean, think about when we were literally nations were warring across the globe. I mean, yes, we've been far more hostile in our past. 11 plots on Obama, Google says. Yes, but how many actual attempts? See, they foil these plots, but we don't know if these guys ever actually have the balls to go through with it. Hang on a second. Stop splitting hairs and trying to convince yourself. You're all adults. You know what you saw, why you saw it, and what he said directly after, and how they behaved and how ridiculous they all are. Yes, they are all ridiculous. You had Cash Patel sitting there like almost as if nothing happened. If I'm Donnie, I'm watching my fucking back because the Secret Service detail assigned to J.D. Vance got him off the stage before Donnie's Secret Service detail even got him out of the fucking chair. And then Donnie fell flat on his fucking face. They got J.D. Vance out of there in a fucking hurry. Patel might have been trashed. I mean, after all, he is Cash Patel. If you believe that about Candace Owens, then you believe that about Candace Owens. Exactly, Badfish. Exactly. Trashed Patel. See, that's the thing, Youngkin or Young King. I don't think that they were all in on it. I don't think that they were all in on it. If this assassin attempt was so serious, then why were they still going to continue the ceremony? Exactly. Owens's and Loomer's what? Oh, yeah, the two of them are feuding with each other something fierce right now. Ford and Lincoln used to be on the top of 1 attempts each. Trump looked bored. He always looks bored. Um, listen. Cash Patel at the helm of the FBI. I certainly hope somebody underneath Cash Patel is minding the store because Cash certainly is not. If the reports are true, and they actually have had to use battering devices in the past to open his hotel rooms to get to wake him up because he was so blacked out drunk. If those reports are true, and I don't know if they are, that's a very bad sign. I know that people that played hockey with him, people that he's known in the past, they all say that he's got a drinking problem, and that sucks that he does. But if he does, he doesn't belong in the position that he's in. It doesn't mean that he's bad for having a drinking problem. A lot of people develop a drinking problem, but you don't need the director of the FBI to have a fucking drinking problem. Just like if Pete Hegseth is still dealing with his past demons, go get the help you need if that's the case, but don't be running the largest department in the federal government with over 2 million employees. When will things get better? When we start voting better. Cash does look confused a lot of the time. Not only does he look confused, he doesn't even know how to lie properly. He's telling reporters that he is not alleging that he was locked out of his devices in this lawsuit from this against this news organization, but the reporters have his actual fucking lawsuit and it alleges that, and he just gets all frustrated. So, motherfucker, that's what your lawsuit alleges. We're not making this shit up. You don't get to allege something in a lawsuit and then look at the American people and say, I didn't allege that. Motherfucker, you alleged it in court. Canada, how you doing? Cash, yes, he looks. I'm not going to make fun of his name because it's his name. I know that the Cash App thing has become quite popular these days. Listen, it's his name. But yeah, if he's got a drinking problem like they're saying he does, the FBI is a rudderless ship right now. What is happening? I just joined. We're discussing many different topics. The main topic we're discussing is the events at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but we're also discussing several other events as well. We're smoking a little dibbage. We're talking about from time to time as these conversations go on, we eventually start talking about tacos and shit. But for the most part, right now, it's basically just ganja and politics, which I believe we could probably meld together into some kind of a song reminiscent of Silver and Gold from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Ganja and politics, ganja and politics. Isn't it wonderful when we discuss ganja and politics? Indica or sativa? Yes. That was not as much of a hit as I thought it was there. Jesus Christ. It is actually not his name. What do you mean? Wim, can you please elaborate? I'm not high at all. I'm just ever so slightly elevated. Thank you very much, new Bill, for the $20 donation. I thank you immensely. My family thanks you immensely. Never high enough, somebody says. Um, when you do it right, you're always just high enough. That's my point right there. It's fajitas Sundays. Very nice. Um, Trump has a background in television, yes, obviously, but none of it adds up. Absolutely none of it adds up. CashApp promote. Oh, gotcha, Wim. You need what? Oh, you need ganja in order to discuss politics? Well, then get yourself some ganja. You get yourself one of these right there. Nice Burl Ives imitation. Nice. Good pull on the Burl Ives. Okay? An older voice to be sure. One that, maybe a little bit lost in the shuffle in today's day and age, but nice pull on the Burl Ives. If you know voices of that point in time, you might also know the voice if you've ever seen the original animated movie Jungle Book with the big bear that runs through dances through the jungle singing um, um, bare necessities. Bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Boom, 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 boom. That gentleman's name is Phil Harris. Phil Harris is from the small town I went to high school in, where my family is from, of Linton, Indiana. Population, whatever. Now probably 6 or 7 thousand. When I went to school there, about 4,000. And there's he has a golf course in town, or had. He's obviously passed now. The golf course is still there, and he has the Phil Harris. He would do the Phil Harris Invitational every year and bring a bunch of celebrities to small town Indiana and have them play golf. Anyway, when it comes to this goddamn shit with the ballroom, I don't believe it for a fucking second. Don't believe it for a goddamn second. Trump threatens violence daily. The MAGA accident in the world. Yeah. Why we never see Susie Wiles? Well, you don't typically see people in that role like on a daily basis. The chief of staff, I'm just saying, if you think back to like the Obama years, did you see Rahm Emanuel on a daily basis? No, because the chief of staff is usually behind the scene. Typically, and I don't know how it works in this administration, but typically how it works in an administration is the chief of staff is who everybody runs everything through. If you want to talk to the president, it goes through the chief of staff. Play us some Stevie Ray. I don't know how to play the guitar. Trump literally lives in a fantasy world. Yes, he does. Do you think they will try to remove Trump from office? No, I don't think they're going. Okay, here's the deal. You would need to see incredible. You would have to see an incredible amount of moral fortitude found in a very short amount of time by a shit ton of congressional Republicans to actually have the balls to go to him and go, listen, this is a Richard Nixon moment. For those of you who are unaware, Richard Nixon was never actually impeached. That never happened. Richard Nixon quit. He left office voluntarily. Why? Because they were about to impeach him, and the Republicans in Congress, his own party, went to him and said, dude, we cannot not vote to remove you. You're going to become the first president in American history to be impeached and removed if you stay in office. And he went, I'm out. And I believe a deal was cut, obviously, with his successor, Ford, which Ford then lived up to by pardoning him. Ford pardoned him for any crimes he may have committed in the United States of America. Okay, that's pretty broad stroke, right? It happens sometimes, but that's what Ford gave to Nixon. He was never actually impeached. So in order for that to happen for Donald Trump, the current, like if they get beat so bad in November, whoever's left in the House and in the Senate would have to have such moral fortitude be found in such a short period of time as to stand up to Donald Trump and give him his Richard Nixon moment. And I don't see that happening. Trump makes Nixon look like a saint. Nixon was actually a phenomenal president. Nixon just sank himself. Nixon was a fucking, quite possibly one of the best presidents of my lifetime. Certainly one of the most accomplished presidents of my lifetime. Chevy Chase did do a great Gerald Ford. Nixon very well could have been the best. He was on his way to being the greatest president damn near ever. I mean, he was doing things. He was getting work done. Richard Nixon, Republican Richard Nixon's list of accomplishments read like a liberal's wet dream. Did it get the ballroom approved? It's certainly going to help. Funny how that works, isn't it? Trump will pay you half on Tuesday for a burger on Monday. And then he'll stiff you on the half. Sean Spicer is now spokesman for CarShield. Meanwhile, Devin Nunes just took a $24 million buyout as the CEO of Trump Media, which owns Truth Social, which lost I don't know how many millions of dollars last year. I do remember Governor Ann Richards of Texas. He just passed a bunch of shit LBJ couldn't. You want a what? A Chapman stick? What the hell is a Chapman stick? Nixon, Department of Education, EPA, Clean Air and Water. Okay, so yeah, Richard Nixon founded the EPA. Richard Nixon founded OSHA, Safe Workplace Environment. Richard Nixon ended the draft and put us onto an all-volunteer military. Richard Nixon appointed 4 Supreme Court justices in one term. He put forth the first $100 million to fight cancer, which was a shit ton of money in '69. He's the first country to recognize China. He signed the SALT nuclear treaty. He Title IX women in college sports he signed. All of that's Richard Nixon. What sank Richard Nixon was he didn't even have anything to do with Watergate, Richard Nixon. He wasn't fucking part of it. But he thought it was going to make him look bad. He thought it was going to hurt him, so he helped cover it up. That's what killed him. That's what ended his career. By the way, if you guys aren't opposed to it, this is available on Amazon. I just like the book. I don't get a commission off of it. This book is entitled "Why Trump Deserves Trust, Respect, and Admiration." It's given 5 stars here. It says refreshingly honest. It is by David King, political analyst, and it says here on the back, drawing upon exclusive interviews and exhaustive research, political analyst David King has compiled a complete and brilliantly accurate account of Donald Trump's virtues and qualities. This is a refreshingly different biographical masterpiece. It is about $8, and there isn't a single word in this fucking book. Literally not one. The only writing inside the cover is on the very first page down at the bottom here where it says Peter Sinclair Publishing Ltd., all rights reserved. Best $8 fucking I ever spent. Ohio loves me? Damn, I'm going to be sore. You need that book? It's on Amazon right now. I think it's still about $8. Had I thought about it first, I'd have self-published it. Man, it's fucking brilliant. I hope this guy. I don't even give a shit if he's a conservative. I hope this guy. I don't even know who he is. I hope, given this, he probably isn't. I hope he makes $1 billion doing this. No stick figure pics in there. Nixon had crooked qualities. He certainly did. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Justice. But if you're going to go to Amazon, God damn it, get my books. These are real. These are mine. Get those. Please. Get 10, 12 copies of each, preferably in paperback. I make more money if you buy them in paperback than I do if you buy them in ebook formats. If you want them right away, I understand getting them in ebook formats. Thoughts on Stephen A. Smith's politics? You know, I've heard like rumors about him, but I haven't really watched a lot about him. I haven't read a lot about him. Yes, I've written 2 books, actually. I hosted 2 podcasts. I've appeared on 6 or 7 other podcasts. All of those links are at my website. I'll talk about the books in a minute. I've appeared on 7 podcasts. I hosted 2. I no longer host those 2. I now do everything in the form of lives on YouTube. I was on the front page of the Chicago Tribune, the Daily Herald, and I was featured in an AARP newsletter. All of those are links on my website. These 2 books are available in paperback or ebook formats. The first book is called A Grateful Life, the life story of a husband, father, and taco-loving deadhead. It's the story of the first 45 years of my life. The second one is Dearest Renee, Letters from the Coronavirus War of 2020. It is a series of letters, quote unquote, I wrote to my wife in the form of Facebook posts during the quarantine. Those 2 books are available on Amazon only. There's a link in my bio, on my website, I should say, Old Hippie Media. Or if you go to any description of any one of my videos on YouTube, not only will you find links to all of my social media accounts, all of my email, my website, you'll find links to my book, my books, my merch, all of that shit. Go to Mass. It's Sunday. Not happening. Cubs or White Sox? Cubs. How does one publish a book? You do it through the way I did it anyway. I'm sure there might be more than one way. I did it through a website called Kindle Direct Publishing.com. Kindle Direct Publishing.com. That is Amazon's self-publishing website. So I wrote this book on Word. I then started a free account on Kindle Direct Publishing. It's free. It walks you through every step. And it gets to a point where it asks you about sizing. You pick a size that you want, and then you resize your Word document. Then you upload your Word document. They put it in book format. You check it out. You align some things, yada yada yada. You upload a picture. You pick what you want on your spine. You can write text for the back. You pick a picture for the back, and then you need an ISBN number. And this is the most important part. Listen to me. This right here, International Standard Book Number. Whoever owns this number has the sales rights to the book. Amazon, everything's free. Start an account, publish your book, it's all free. If you need one of these, they'll give it to you for free, but you can only ever sell on Amazon. You go to the International Standard Book Number Registry and you buy your own, and you can own it forever. So if it ever takes off and a publisher wants to grab it, you can take it with you. Amazon doesn't own it. I bought 10 of these for $300, I think. Because I've written more than one book. And hopefully we'll write more than one. So, 500,000 for what? I have no idea, Mark. You're going to have to Google that. Through a website. Yeah, it's literally through Amazon. Okay, so then what you do is once you do all the pictures and you upload everything and all of that shit that you do, and this is all laid out, they give you a digital copy, you flip through it, and then what you do is you order a sample for yourself, and they send you a physical book. And then you sit down, you either give it to somebody electronically or physically to edit for you. We edit it ourselves. That's why there are a couple of mistakes still in there. It's part of the book at this point in time. Once it's all done and you're good, you pick how much you want to sell your book for, what your profit margin is, how much you want to sell your book for. You set a price for ebooks. If somebody has a Kindle and wants to download, you can download my books immediately, or cost for a paperback, and then you make it go live, and then it's all live on Amazon. And what happens is, you can order a shit ton of copies if you want, but you don't ever touch these. When somebody buys a copy of my book, Amazon prints it and sends it to them and deposits my money into my account. That's how that works. I never touch this book. So what people often say to me is, how do I get a signed copy? I say, you send it to me with prepaid postage packaging back to you, and because I only make about $5 per book. That's what that's what I get. I think I make like $1 or $2 per Kindle book. What is the most believable religion, in my opinion? I don't think I've ever been asked that before. I don't know that I could believe any of them. What is the most believable religion? That's how our band merch works through Zazzle. That's how my t-shirts and hoodies work as well. It's all direct ship. Well, Conley, I'll send you a copy, goddammit. You don't have to buy the book. Why didn't he have a t-shirt on? I don't know. I think the more important question is, how did he get a room in the hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner was happening the night of the White House Correspondents' Dinner? That is a hotel room you have to book a year in advance. How does he have a room in that hotel? You're excited about your book once again? Right on. Listen, here's the deal. Everybody's got a book in them. And here's what we did, just to give you a little bit of a... Take a look at the cover. The cover is an actual photo. Okay, so take a look at the back cover. See me sitting at a table at a Mexican restaurant? I know it's a little bit blurry. But I'm sitting at a table at a Mexican restaurant with a bunch of food and a margarita. Okay? That's the plate. There's some tacos, some rice, some chips, a margarita, some salsa. There's a map to Chicagoland. My car keys are here, and then this is a physical ticket. I had 300 physical tickets written up. The name of the concert on the ticket is the name of the book, A Grateful Life, the life story of a husband, father, and taco-loving deadhead, presented by Tom Powell Jr. The date of the concert is my birthday, May 13th, Saturday, May 13th, 1972. That's the date of the concert. Doors open at 12:13 p.m. That's the time I was born. BYOB 420 friendly. That's self-explanatory. The location of the concert here on the ticket: Gottlieb Hospital, Melrose Park, Illinois. That's where I was born. Price of admission: $6.07. I weighed 6 pounds 7 ounces. Admit one, lawn seating, and it's ticket number one. I had 300 of these printed up. I used the first one for the cover of the book. I then took the remaining 299. I still have a bunch left. Did a hole punch in them, ran some hemp wire through, put some beads on the end of them, and sold them as bookmarks. I still have a bunch of those. This cover, I bought this patch. See, it says Quarantine Veteran, COVID-19. I bought this patch on Amazon. Took my son's black and white camo underwear out on the deck, laid it out flat, made sure there were no wrinkles, stood above it, took a picture of it, uploaded it to an editing platform. I think it was probably Canva. Put in the text and uploaded that to Kindle Direct Publishing. That's how I got my 2 book covers. My wife took a picture of me there for the back cover of that one, and we just took a picture of me in front of the taco plate with a little description of the book for the back cover. And what I did was, the way I wrote this first book, I knew I wanted to have 13 chapters because I was born on May 13th. So I sat down and I went 1 through 13. What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about my mom's family. I want to talk about my dad's family. I want to talk about my mom and dad. I want to talk about my child abuse. I want to talk about my time on the road. I want to talk about my life with Renee. I want to talk about taking care of my father. I said what I wanted to talk about in these 13 paragraphs, and then I started to fill in the holes. I would get zoned in on a paragraph, a segment, and I'd just be typing, and a day or two would go by, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm getting burned out here. I need to move to another section. And I did that until the book was done. And once it was all done, at the end of it all, I wrote Peace, Love, and Tacos. I quoted a song. I said, I don't know what the future holds for me. None of us do. Yada, yada, yada. I quoted a song. And then I included 2 pages here. Well, 1, 2 pages of my most favorite quotes. And then I gave some thank yous and how to get a hold of me and some stuff like that. And that's the book. I wanted to include those quotes because, these are some just quotes that I like here. I don't eat fast food often, but I love tacos. I could write prophetically about how perfect the taco is. Ken Bauman. Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Clemenza. The difference between genius and stupidity is genius has its limits. Albert Einstein. What a long, strange trip it's been. Jerry Garcia. I am actually okay. So Conley is saying I need a sequel to this. This book is the first 45 years of my life. She's saying that I need a sequel. I've been writing a sequel ever since I wrote this book. Writing being a relative term. As things happen, I put bullet notes into paragraphs, but I have a framework of everything that's happened since I've been 45. And yes, there is a segment about meeting Ash. I mean, that has to be a segment. Just for what? Did I miss a part of a conversation? My apologies if I did. You dig my style? Thank you very much. Just 4 billion. Yeah, I missed something. Right past me. Thou shalt bang thy head. Depends. I mean, I like metal from time to time. here recently, I got a little playlist together that I've been listening to in the shower that starts with. Okay, let me think about what this is. Okay, it starts with Cowboys from Hell from Pantera, and it moves into Got the Time by Anthrax. That moves into Antisocial from Anthrax. That moves into Bread Fan by Metallica, which moves into Holy Wars by Megadeth, and it ends with Lux Eterna by Metallica. That's been my latest playlist. I don't know how I put those together, but they kind of seem to work together for me at the moment. Heated up some corn dogs and put some laundry in the dryer. I'll be right back. Thank you. Okay. So the Renee is at her mom's. Um, for your groin wash, Jesus fucking Christ! Oh my god. Yes. So getting back to the topic at hand, I do not believe that what we saw was real. I am not typically prone to conspiracy theories, but I do not believe we went to the moon. Space is real. I just none of this is adding up. You know what I mean? None of this is adding up. So I in the moment do not believe it. I in the moment am not buying what is being told to the American public. Do I think everybody in the room was in on it? Of course not. Not even close. Yes, it smells very much like Butler. I don't believe Butler, and I believed Butler for a very, very, very long time. I thought Butler was real. I I do not believe Butler was real. Yes, the Earth is round. Yes, the Earth is round. Everybody hear that? The Earth is it's round. It's it's the Earth is round. The fact that there are people in 2026 that do not believe that is absolutely astonishing to me. Spherical in nature. Exactly, Johnny. Spherical. He wanted to scare the shit out of Wolf Blitzer and George Stephanopoulos. It's so sad that we have a divide about simple shit like the earth being right. And so that's my point right there. If we're at a point in our politics where we can't even agree on what reality is, how do we agree on tax policy? How do we agree on the on the use of ICE? How do we agree on detention centers? How do we agree on the war in Iran? How do we agree on any type of foreign policy? We can't even agree on what reality is. People are talking about how we need to begin reaching across the aisle with people. Wait a minute. I don't reach across the aisle with people who believe JFK is still alive, who believe Hillary Clinton eats babies out of the non-existent basement of a New Jersey pizza parlor. I don't believe. I'm not gonna. No, they don't even believe reality. I did a video the other day, not just the other day, where a Trump supporter was shown the post that Donald Trump made of himself as Jesus, with the glowing hands and healing somebody, the one that everybody was talking about for a brief period of time. And this guy's like, I don't think he posted that. That's somebody else did that. And they're like, but it's on his account. No, I don't think it was him. There's no way. Trump admitted it, and this guy's like, yeah, I don't believe it. So if Trump can admit to doing something insane and they still won't believe him, then how do we talk about tax policy with them? How do we talk to them about this person? Young's talking about Pizzagate. Yeah. How do you talk about anything from an actual policy standpoint when you can't even get what the fuck reality, get past what the fuck reality is? We gotta get to a point where we agree on reality first. Yeah, Dr. Jesus. Listen, it was a funky move. It was fucking crazy, but I mean, ballsy to post a fucking image of yourself as Jesus healing the sick with glowing hands. Tom's son and Tom's grandchildren are going to do a lot of shit to clean up when we're older. Yeah, my grandson's going to be born in the next 3 weeks. Yep. My two granddaughters are going to have to fight vigorously to get some of their rights back. I don't. Yes, they did pick a name. And I don't know if that name has been made public. Then again, photos of gifts with the name have been made public, so I don't know. Um, I've heard about the IDF T-shirt. I haven't done anything to actually like dig into that, so I don't know too much about it. And so that's why I'm not bringing up that particular point in this live because I don't know anything about that just yet, or I don't know much about that just yet. Hello to everybody that's here. Thank you guys. Always, if you could, please continue to tap the screen or the heart button. If you would be so kind as to help a brother out, there's an arrow on the screen, which will provide you with a shareable link that you could either text to somebody to get them to come in here, or you could post it to your Facebook, your Threads, your Bluesky. If you're still on Twitter, if you're on Substack or something of that nature, you could always share it. Thank you very much. Tapping the screen helps tremendously. I greatly appreciate that. We have a stupidity problem among the electorate, y'all. I don't know how to fix it, but there's just a lot of dumb out there. You don't fix it. You outvote it. Yeah, I have a problem from time to time with CNN. I have a problem with all of the cable news stations. You don't fix stupid. It's unfixable. You can talk to it. If it's ignorance, you can educate it, right? Ignorance is a lack of knowledge. We can educate the ignorant. If it's stupid, you don't fix stupid. You just outvote it. You make sure you show up in numbers that the stupid don't matter. Is God dead or is it still alive? I don't ever believe God existed. I am an agnostic atheist. If we still have a vote, yes, you can't fix stupid. Ron White. Burke County, Florida does not exist. We need a source, no political leanings, investigator. Ghost countries. Up here in Canada, it feels like living above a meth lab and trap house. Try living in it. It's a bit funky. It's a bit funky right now. There are states that I would actually avoid in my own country if I could. Like make sure well, we don't have to drive through that state. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Huh? Where is your lovely wife this afternoon? We just got back from being out of town. She had some content she needed to make, and she was going to her mom's house to visit uh, one of her stepsisters was coming over to visit at the in-laws, and so she took the opportunity to go see her as well. And then she like Renee right now makes content in her car, and it's working for her at the moment. Um, she does content for both TikTok and YouTube, and she does content that is like well, like life associated content, things that happen in our life, people she runs into that maybe aggravate her, or things that she saw that's weird, or some stories that she saw on other social media sites like Facebook community pages and things like that. She gives you a little bit of background into our life, a little bit of behind the scenes into what it's like living with me, and then every so often touches on a political topic. I think JB Pritzker is doing a better job than I anticipated him to do when he first ran. I think he's doing a much better job than I anticipated him to do. Yes, Renee does go on stupid people rants quite frequently because there are a lot of stupid people in the world. And you run into them quite frequently. What do I think of stone oven cooked pizza? I don't have anything adverse to say about it. We don't typically have places around here that do a lot of stone. I mean, there are places in the Chicagoland area, but I'm talking about here in the far southwest suburbs, not a ton. Yeah, you have to be strong, I would imagine, to deal with me. I am not an easy human being to live with. Or I guess I should say I have not historically been an easy human being to live with. I have metamorphosed into a different human being over the course of the last quarter of a century. And it is not easy to live with a human being like me. So yes, you're absolutely correct. And yeah, Jeffrey the Baptist baptized Dr. Jesus. The fuck? Do you think Trump will have ICE at the polls? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And he'll have ICE at the polls not in rural Kansas. They're not going to be at the polls in Idaho or Montana. They're going to be at the polls in Chicago and Los Angeles and New York and Philadelphia and Washington D.C. and Boston. Renee has mentioned it's great that the world helps you burn off energy on your content. The whole reason I do content is because of Renee. I retired and then did not have an outlet for my brain. And I'm extraordinarily extroverted. And so Renee said, "Why don't you write a book?" So I did. And then I went, "Okay, well, I wrote the book." And she went, "You should start a podcast and pimp the book." And so I started a podcast. And then I wrote a second book. And then and then I started a second podcast. And then after I got a 30-day ban on Facebook and a lifetime ban on Twitter, all within a like an hour and a half of each other or whatever the time frame is. She's the one that said you should get on TikTok, and I was like, "Fuck, I don't know on fucking TikTok." And then I got on TikTok, and then I started doing content, and then while she was out working, making all of the money, and I was here doing TikToks for fun, everybody said, "Can you imagine being married to this guy? All this guy does is sit around and do TikToks while his wife is out making all the money." Yet, if I wasn't making TikToks, she would look at me and go, "Don't you have TikToks to make?" And I go, "Why do you want me to go make TikToks?" She goes, "You're building something." And then when she lost her job, she monetized what I accidentally built. And it's all because she said, "Go do it." Because you're an extrovert and you need. She would come home from work and I would unload on her everything that's in my brain like she was my fucking bartender. I don't even do the podcast anymore, Ashton. Um, all the old episodes are there, but what I need to do is I need to start maybe taking the lives that Renee and I are doing and put them into audio podcast form for people to be able to listen to. I just got to figure out how to do that. Once again, I'm a 54, almost 54-year-old, severely technically illiterate human being. I know how to press record and go "Bah, bah, 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 stop, throw some subtitles on it, think of a title, and press post. That's other guys that are doing this. I know that they have like multiple cameras and microphones and lighting, and that's all awesome, and that makes it their videos are really really cool. I do it in my phone. My wife's channel, it's Renee Renee Violet Violet Powell, all one word, Renee Violet Powell. Is the podcast market over saturated? I don't know. Thank you, Ann. I don't know. Seems like there are a lot of podcasts out there, and I mean, listen, I'm a prime example of what I'm about ready to say. Any old fucking dumbass can have a podcast, right? I had two of them. The fuck? It's not like it's very hard, you know what I mean? So yeah, there are a shit ton of podcasts out there, and for yours to catch, for yours to take hold, it might be a little bit of an uphill climb. Staged for sure. Yes, absolutely. What happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I truly believe was staged. Yes. He has already used the support to attempt to justify the ballroom. Yeah, we were talking about that. I've actually been live for 133 minutes. We were talking about that very, very early on. Yes, it's all aligning that this is all designed to distract from an unwinnable war, a tanking economy, cratering poll numbers, and continued pressure for the Epstein files, and the fact that he is pushing hard for this ballroom right now, and he has judges telling him no, and some saying yes, and then some saying no, and he's using now national security. At least that's the argument he was using in court before this even happened. That we need the ballroom for national security reasons, and now this happens the very first time he ever attends the White House Correspondents' Dinner, a dinner that he refused to attend the previous 5 years he was president. That would be last year and the entire 4 years, for the 4 years of his entire first term. He has never attended this event. He's got these cases before judges. Judges are giving him bad rulings. He then all of a sudden announces a month beforehand he's going to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner, an event he never attends. And he attends, and we get the first ever shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner ever. And it's from a guy who had a room in the hotel where the White House Correspondents' Dinner is happening, even though that's a room you got to book a year in advance because it happens in the same fucking hotel every year. Yeah, that dog don't hunt. That dog don't hunt. Is there anything that Trump has done that I agree with? I agree in his first term with his stance towards funding historically black colleges and universities. I agree in his first term with the banning of bump stocks. I agree in his first term with his position and the fact that he signed into legislation uh, the bill that makes animal cruelty a felony. But not much beyond that has he done that listen, I do agree with the rescheduling of marijuana. Yes, I do agree with that. It is a first step. It is not even close to going far enough, but it's not a Trump issue. Democrats and Republicans alike have pushed this off and have not done this. So it's a good first step, but not even fucking close to what we need. Not even close. So, but once again, it's not his. None of them have done. Obama didn't do it. Clinton didn't do it. Biden didn't do it. Bush didn't do it. So, this is something that's been going on for quite some time. How does it affect me? Elaborate. The vaccine funding was good, but the 180 on that has been amused. Are you opposed to the Iran war? Yes. I'm not opposed to the idea that the original Ayatollah has been taken out, but yeah, we weren't attacked. This is not something we had a deal in place. We had a deal in place. Um, the only reason that that deal is no longer in place is because Donald Trump couldn't stand the fact that Barack Obama's name was on it. Period. That's it. Do gubernatorial races happen during midterms? Are you not from here, Pastor? Did we talk about that in the past? Maybe. Like, yeah, my governor J.B. Pritzker is up this year. Some governors, not all. Things are staggered here. Oh, you're from Tennessee. I don't. Is the Tennessee gubernatorial race up this year? I can't remember. But yeah, here in Illinois it is. People still point at one or two not horrible things. Exactly. You hope you get to vote against Bill Lee. Somebody's saying I haven't been paying attention to Tennessee politics. Whose manifesto? Vincent is in Pennsylvania. Y'all are weak, says a man who's hiding his name and his identity. Interesting take. Are you still for a separation of Illinois into two states? If all of those southern counties want to get out of Illinois, I don't understand why we don't let them. Just let them go. Fuck Bill Lee. Bill Lee's getting some words. Did I support Trump in the 2016 primaries? No. I have never supported Trump on any level as a human being for the decades I've known about him prior to this, or since he's become a politician. No. I wouldn't. Donald Trump is evil incarnate. Tennessee does need a serious overhaul. The good things Trump has done are like having 3 high quality, fresh heirloom tomato slices on a 9-foot shit sandwich. Holy shit. That is a visual image right there. Are they like when you say fresh, are they not only are they fresh, but are they cold? I like a good cold tomato. And if I'm gonna have a shit sandwich, let's mix that up with I want a good thick peppered up slice of cold tomato. You know what I mean? My audio is not syncing up. Okay, Trump donating his salary was absolutely meaningless because he donated $400,000 a year and he made millions of dollars a year off of being the president, and a lot of it was our money. So he cost us more money. Not garden fresh, warm. Come on, man. The fuck? Can I at least have good tomatoes? Tim Burchett signed a BBB for Trump's auto. What is this? There is no such thing as God. Oh, here we go. We're having that conversation. will use cash bills with Trump's signature on them. If I could avoid it, but I very rarely use cash bills now. What I do is mostly electronic. What about the bourbon distilleries? Trump has done some major damage to the Tennessee. Yes. If I was in Tennessee, he charged Secret Service for water. Yeah, and more than water. If I was in Tennessee, I'd be voting for Christy Burke, says this commenter right here. Yeah, he charged for way more than water. And he overcharged for everything. Will J.D. Vance be the next president? Not if Donald Trump lives out this term. He won't be. Yes, they're going to be putting Donald Trump on American money. There's going to be a coin with his likeness, and I can't remember if it's a $100 bill or what that they're trying to make, or a $500. I can't remember what it was. And then he wants to have his signature on the bills. I don't even need cash for the dispensaries here. My favorite, I don't know who my favorite Republican is. Or maybe it was the $250 bill. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's putting his name on money. He's putting his name on. I put his name on the Kennedy Center. He's putting his name on this ballroom. He's putting his name on this ark. He put his name on a series of battleships already. That's already done. The Trump class of battleships. He's putting his name on everything. They want there are like 13 different bills the Republicans have in Congress right now to name different things after him. They're already naming one of the airports in Florida after him. They want to name an airport in New York after him. They want to name bridges after him. They want to carve him into Mount Rushmore. Like, these are literal bills that they have put forth. Do I hate Pete Hegseth? Does Dolly Parton sleep on her back? And the Kennedy Center is already closed. Yep. Yes, it is. Honoring a pedo is nasty. Yes, it is. It's a disgusting embarrassment and a black stain on the history of this country. You think Trump will get a third term? And you don't understand our laws. Which is fine. You don't have to. I'm going to have some everything pretzel crisps while we have this conversation. What is this? Yes, they do claim that the shutdown of the Kennedy Center is for refurbishments. Yes, the orange man, or the mustache man, had a ballroom over his bunker. That is true. Well, here's the deal. So somebody asked, what good are laws if he just rewrites them? And here's the deal. He's not rewriting them. He's ignoring them. He doesn't care that they exist. They're not being rewritten. He's just like, I don't fucking care. And the reason why he doesn't care is because a judge can make a ruling against him and say, you can't do this. You have to bring this person back. You can't deport this person. You can't build this. You can't do this. You can't blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, okay. Now enforce it. And they don't have a mechanism to enforce it. So, what good is the judiciary? If you could pass one bill without needing Congress approval, what would it be? Universal health care. It's the single biggest change that could be made to affect literally everyone in the country for the positive and spur innovation in this country like we have never seen before. It would be universal healthcare. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter what your profession is, no matter how much money you make, no matter your political views, no matter your sexual orientation, no matter what you are, you're covered. Right? You do that, people are going to quit jobs and start companies because the only reason they don't do it now is because they can't afford the health insurance. People are going to not go broke because they got sick. People are going to be able to live a better life and spend less money on their health care through that one thing. You know, we can have arguments about everything else that needs to be passed. But if we cover everybody, we can work on all of those other issues as we go along. If everybody paid exactly what we paid for corporate profit healthcare, we could more than pay for universal healthcare for everybody. 2 bankruptcy due to medical bills. Ouch. Was there a video you never posted on any platform, and why? Was there a video I never posted? I'm trying to think back. Give me a minute. Because I've said some pretty outlandish shit on every platform. Yeah. Now that I think about it. And I won't get into the specifics because there was a reason why I didn't post it. However, I will say this. When people who I'm mutuals with on various social media platforms do or say something that causes me to disagree with them to the point of not wanting to have anything to do with them, not wanting to follow them anymore, but not also wanting to be. I hate the internet beefs. I got a problem with this fucking guy because he said this thing or did this thing, and so I'm going to make a video about it, which I understand people do. I just don't want to do it. So I just quietly unfollow them, and I'm just done with them. And there were a few times where people did or said things where I severely disagreed with them, even though I agree with 80, 85, 90, 95% of what they have to say. They did something that I don't agree with, so I quietly unfollowed them, and then maybe have made a draft calling them out in a video, thinking that I was going to post it, and then going, you know what, I don't want to get into that. That's not what I want to do. The horrible mother whose son stomped the girl's head. No, I didn't. I don't know what happens to people like the older millennial in the post-Trump world. You know, people say to me, what are you going to do when Trump leaves and he's no longer, you got 2 years left. Well, I still do political content, and the older millennial is still going to do political content. What is he going to do as far as being able to generate the shock value? I don't know. I honestly have no idea what that would look like. I'm going to continue to talk about politics, and here's what I'm going to turn into. And this is what's going to happen. When it's the Democrats' turn to be in power and they're doing stupid shit, I'm going to be on here calling them on their shit. And being like, you can't do this. Like, for example, when George Floyd was killed. When George Floyd was killed, that was an incredible abuse of police power. It was emblematic, I should say, of a broken police system where too frequently officers abuse their power against people of color in this country. However, even though that is true. And George Floyd's death should be spotlighted as an example of this. He was no fucking hero. He was no fucking person to praise. He was no fucking person to have gold fucking caskets and fucking statues and shit. And when the Democratic Party, with their masks and everything that they had going on, went to the Capitol Rotunda and all took a knee in the rotunda for George Floyd, I was like, what the fuck are you people doing? Are you shitting me? You should be in that building trying to get legislation passed that reins these fucking cops in instead of out there taking a knee for a guy who, let's be honest, wasn't exactly a stellar fucking example of a human being. He just so happened to be the victim of an abusive system that we need to be spotlighting and fixing. But praising him? Come on. What happened to him was a goddamn travesty. But that's what we should be talking about, not him as a person. Yellow, that's a good question. I don't know who I support out there at the moment. I honestly don't know who I support in California right now. I know who I support here in Illinois. J.B. Pritzker. You're going to enjoy the midterms? I'm going to enjoy the midterms if we see favorable results. If not, we're going to be in a bad spot for a couple of years. That's for sure. If we don't blunt his agenda, the next 2 years are not going to be pretty. They're already not going to be pretty. What? I find it so foreign to know that my neighbor is less than 50 miles financial sort of Damocles on a daily basis in regards to healthcare. Isn't that fucking crazy? Man, I'll pull it up again for you so that I have the exact numbers. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Give me 1 minute. Let me give you the exact numbers. I got to get my computer cleaned up. It's moving a little slow. My apologies. It's getting there. My apologies. Hang on. There we go. Come on, load up, man. Okay. We pay, for those of you outside the United States of America. Now, Renee and I are self-employed, so we do not have health insurance through an employer. So we are paying out of pocket for our health care. We pay $1,765.67 a month for the health care. Then we have a family in-network medical deductible of $15,000, and we have a family in-network medical out-of-pocket max of $20,000. This is the button I want right here. Oh yeah, just under $1,800 a month. That's what we pay. We're self-employed, and we're the only two people that work for the company. I have an individual deductible of $7,500 and a family deductible of $15,000. I have a individual out of pocket of 10,000 and a family out of pocket of 20,000. Uh, yeah, and $1,800 a month just to have that. How did he give a prepared speech right afterwards? Well, speech writers for presidents do work rather quickly, but yes, it's another part of the thing that does not add up. That's called your problem. It's actually not my problem because I can afford it. But you don't find it to be a problem, generally speaking, John? I'm curious, John, as to if you find it a problem that people are paying those kind of dollars, those kinds of amounts, just to be able to have health care. No, you don't find it to be a problem. Why not, John? When Trump dies, will I celebrate it? Yes. Yes, I will. If it happens naturally. Your dad paid more, and you don't think it was a problem that he paid more? Lynette, yes, the whole world will celebrate. There will be celebratory factions in every country on the fucking planet. No, take care of your own. So you don't find it to be a problem that health insurance companies charge unaffordable rates to people to be able to have the health care that they need in order to not go broke if they get sick. You don't find that to be a problem. I'm not talking about my cost or your dad's cost. I'm talking about in general that it's too goddamn expensive to get health care. You don't find that to be a problem. The rising tide lifts all boats. Exactly. Bro, he trolling. Ashton, give me a minute. As a retired nurse, this has been a crisis, an embarrassment. This absolutely, absolutely. If you change jobs, you try to better your life, you'll probably be a contractor with no health insurance. It happens to too many people. It happens to too many people. I'm just curious as to see what his final response would be here. You saw a photo of Melania, obviously frightened and orange. It was looking at her, seemed to be enjoying the fear. I saw the very same photo in his defense, their defense. It happened at a split second. It wasn't as it seemed to be in that photograph. Too many illegals. So you have no answer. Gotcha. You're too fucking stupid to be here, John. Sorry. John's gone, everybody. Everybody say goodbye to John. Ready? Bye, John. Get fucked, Johnny. Stay fucked, Johnny. Bye, Johnny. Tell your story walking, Johnny. Everybody, celebrate Johnny's departure. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Goodbye. Boom boom boom. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Goodbye. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. I'm sorry. I'm just done dealing with stupidity at the moment. I'm going to continue to make content about stupidity, and I'm going to continue to engage in with stupid people in the comment sections of these lives. But right now, we're in the wake of another, in my opinion, staged assassination attempt, and I'm not dealing with it. Schumer and Jeffries both need to go. I believe Schumer does need to go. Yes, I don't necessarily disagree with Jeffries, but or agree with you with Jeffries, but Here's the bottom line: he's not going anywhere. Jim Jeffries. Chuck Schumer will be shortly, but he's not. Jim Jeffries isn't going anywhere. And if we take the House in November, Jim Jeffries is probably going to be your Speaker of the House. Do I have any good stories from landscaping about bees and wasps? No, I'm allergic to bees and wasps, so I avoided them like the plague. What is your most right wing opinion and why? Well, you tell me which one is the most right wing. I am pro Second Amendment, I am pro death penalty, and I am pro first strike, and I am a capitalist. I don't know which one is the furthest right. You pick the one. And then we could discuss the whys, but that's on you to pick the one. Thank you very much, Ethan, for the $2 donation. Greatly appreciated. Every dollar goes to the keep the lights on fund. Yes, if you are unaware, I make 100% of my money off of content creation. So I appreciate every one of you that watches the content and sees those ads in those videos that YouTube puts on there, because when you see those ads, they share that revenue they get with me. And that keeps the lights on, and it keeps me able to, being able to do this. Well, I appreciate that, Double A, but I'm straight and married. What was staged? I believe that what we just saw at the Correspondents' Dinner was staged. I believe what we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania was staged. When did the shooter make the hotel reservations? That's a damn good question. Because once again, you can't get a room in that hotel for that night unless you book that shit a year in advance. Nobody cares what anyone thinks. Then why are you here? This is an exchange of conversation of ideas. This is like the town the town square. People engaging in conversation. If you don't want to engage in conversation, why the fuck are you here? You must have not seen the Hawk's video on it. No, probably not. What did Hawk have to say about it? Shooter had a room. I've read 4 different articles today that said that he did have a room in the hotel. Well, it wasn't the entire chain of command that was in the room, but a significant number of them, and they're in that room because they typically are in that room for that event. Sorry, here, let me see. You like potatoes. Good for you. Good for you. I hope you get to eat some today. No proof that it was staged. That's why I said I believe it was staged. Do you like Long John Silver's? Yes, I do. Opinion on Thomas Massey. I mean, he's still far right wing. I don't like him from that standpoint. I do like the fact that he at least has the guts to stand up for what he says he believes in, even if it means going against the grain within the Republican Party in the era of Trumpism. What's that candy bar name? Which candy bar would you be talking about, my guy? Everyone is talking about it. It's true. Maybe Orange Man needs attention. Poor baby. Well, here's my philosophy. For those people that maybe didn't see this, I've been live now for 164 minutes. Maybe you haven't seen it. It was talked about very early on. Let me break down what I see. Okay. I see that Donald Trump's in a bad spot right now. His poll numbers are at a point that are lower than at any point in time Joe Biden had a low. He's lower than Joe Biden ever was. His poll numbers are cratering. He's got a 23% approval rating within independents. He's got a 30-something% approval rating overall. He's got a war he can't win, yet he keeps saying he's winning it. He's got an economy that's tanking. He's got high gas prices. He still has the Epstein file, and he doesn't know what to do. Right? He's got all of these problems. And he's trying to get this ballroom approved. But the judges keep pushing back on him, and he's losing in court. Now, Donald Trump was president for 4 years in his first term and 1 year last year in this term. And in all 5 of those years, he never went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Fuck that place. Now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he announces a month in advance he's going to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Shortly after that, he gets a ruling from a judge that says he can no longer use national security as a reason to compel the federal government to build his ballroom. Then he attends his first ever White House Correspondents' Dinner, and we get the first ever White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting from a guy who had a hotel room in a hotel that you couldn't get a room in unless you booked it a year in advance. A guy who's an educated teacher from the West Coast, but came all the way to Washington, D.C., and only sent anti-Trump policy writings to his family members via social media in the moments before the attack. None of this shit is adding up. Not one bit of it. And then Trump immediately goes back to the White House and in his tuxedo addresses the media. And what does he say? See, this is why we need a ballroom. This is why if the ballroom was here, we'd have had this shit on lock. And in unison, major talking heads in right-wing social media begin talking about that night why we need a ballroom. None of this shit is adding up. This, in my opinion, is absolutely staged. And you can sit here and say there's no proof that it was staged. I don't know, a lot of fucking dots being connected. But thank you for the $2 donation, Hunter. All we're saying is give peace a chance, John Lennon. That is correct. All we are saying is give peace. And as far as Butler, Pennsylvania is concerned, I believed Butler, Pennsylvania was an actual assassination attempt for a very long time. And the more I saw it, and the more angles I saw of it, and everything, it just wasn't adding up. And as the months went on, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, this guy, Donald Trump, is a guy who continuously argues with Rosie O'Donnell on social media and in interviews, calls her out by name because she made fun of him on national TV over 20 fucking years ago. Yet the guy who allegedly tried to take his life in Butler, Pennsylvania, he never mentions at all. He's never mentioned this guy in a press conference, a press gaggle, a phone interview, a rally. He's never talked about the guy that allegedly tried to take his life. And it is now being reported that the DOJ said we don't need to investigate the assassination attempt in Butler. We got him trying to shoot him, so we've got enough to put him away, but we don't need to investigate what led to it. You shut down the investigation into your own assassination attempt, and you won't ever speak out loud about the guy who did it. Yeah, that dog don't hunt. That dog don't hunt. I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, there has never been an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life. And Donald Trump is willing to stage, in my opinion, Donald Trump is willing to stage fake assassination attempts in order to garner support in the moment. He is that fucking bad. Dylan, coincidence? Elaborate. Still bashing Trump? Still hiding your identity? My daughter does special effects in Hollywood. She even said it looks staged. Do you think the U.S. has achieved its goals as far as strangling China economically? No. No, I think China's eating our lunch. China's making deals with other major trading partners of ours, and they're moving on without us. The last attempt that was real was on Ronnie. Was that the last attempt on a president that was real? Yeah, Ford was before Reagan. Nobody attempted Poppy Bush. George W. Bush just had a shoe thrown at him. That's really not a big deal. Nobody took a pop at Clinton. There were a lot of talk about taking a pop at Obama, but nobody ever actually took a pop at Obama or Biden. Yeah. Yeah. The last real one attempt was Ronald Reagan. They threw a grenade at W. When did that happen? I'm obviously forgetting it if I'm not remembering to include that. But we aren't talking about Iran. Bingo. We're not talking about Iran. We're not talking about gas prices. We're not talking about the cost of health insurance. None of it. It's gone. Why? Talking about this. And should we have a ballroom? Why is politics tribal in because there was a period of time in American politics where, okay, obviously you know that we have two major political parties. I don't give a fuck that we have a Green Party and a Libertarian Party. They don't ever amount to shit. We have two parties, and it sucks that we have two, but we have two. It's the Republican and the Democrat. And there was a period in time in which the Republican and the Democrat could work with one another because they agreed on what we should be. They just disagreed on how to go about getting there. They agreed that they wanted a healthy, thriving country that had the rule of law, that protected everybody, and that people could raise their families in a safe community, and so forth. They agreed on all of these principles. They just disagreed on how we went about getting it. And then we started to get more and more extreme as we got into the era of Reaganism. Ronald Reagan was the first person to figure out how to utilize the religious right as a voting bloc. And he pulled the religious right into the conversation for the very first time. Prior to that, it was always Republicans were don't take my money, don't take my guns, and that was it. You know, strong national defense. Then we got into the religious shit with Ronald Reagan, and we started talking about gay people and AIDS, and we started talking about women's rights and abortion and things like that. And since Ronald Reagan, the right wing has slipped further and further right because the evangelicals got in with Reagan, and then we had a very short period of time with Poppy Bush, but then we had 2 terms of Clinton. And while the Republicans in Congress worked with Bill Clinton to balance a budget and pass off a surplus, they also hated Bill Clinton because he was, he was getting Hummers and he was Slick Willie and shit like that. And so they thought that we were losing our way, the evangelicals with Bill Clinton. So they went further right with George W. Bush. And we got the born again George W. Bush in there, and we started to see the evangelicals really take hold in the federal government. And then we thought, silly us, we thought we were bringing that political pendulum back to the middle with Barack Obama, who really was a centrist, but he was a black man with a Muslim sounding name that wanted people to have health care. And so he was evil in their eyes, and they thought we went way left with Obama. So they just went fucking nuts with Trump. And what were Reagan Republicans morphed into the Tea Party and eventually morphed into MAGA. And now we're in this spot where MAGA has control of the Republican Party, and everybody's waiting to see the end of Trump's time in politics, whether that be he lives out his term and he doesn't get to run for office again, and he's now a retired ex-president, or he eats that final Big Mac that seizes his heart and he's no longer an issue. Whichever one comes first, people are waiting to see what these maggots are going to do in a post-Trump world. Are they really going to fall in line behind a J.D. Vance? Because Donald Trump was able to do and say shit to attract people into his sphere that nobody else does. J.D. Vance isn't going to be willing to say some of the outlandish shit that Donald Trump does. So are they going to fall in line behind a J.D. Vance? I don't know. We're going to see. Is J.D. Vance even going to be a factor? Where's Mike Pence? Donald Trump throws everybody under the bus sooner or later. And if he makes it to the end of his term, he's going to be like a caged animal knowing he's about ready to lose control. He'll lash out at everybody. He might throw JD and Marco and you fucking name it under the goddamn bus. Who the hell knows what he's capable of doing as he's backed into a corner? DoorDash Mickey D's could do him in. Could. It is rumored, not rumored, it's reported, and this happened in his first administration, and it's been reported in this second administration. He eats between 5 and 7 Big Macs a day. Allegedly. Oh, look at this. This is a turtle drinking water. It's a turtle chugging water. This little motherfucker is thirsty. It is reported that he eats between 5 and 7 Big Macs a day. And now, why does he eat a lot of fast food? We've talked about this in other lives. Donald Trump, has been talking about this for 50 fucking years. He believes it is the best way to avoid food poisoning. He is convinced that you cannot have 1,200 locations and serve billions of Big Macs and be that successful if you're getting people sick. So it's the best way to avoid getting food poisoning. Plus, nobody ever knows who's ordering at a McDonald's, as opposed to going into a privately owned restaurant and sitting down and ordering food, and some chef there hates you and they could poison you. He's been like this for fucking decades. So he eats fast food. Big Macs, fish fillets, all that shit. Quarter pounders, he eats all of that shit. 5 to 7, it is reported, 5 to 7 Big Macs a day. He's approaching 80. He's got a failing heart. He eats 5 to 7 Big Macs a day. Is he going to make it to the end of his term? I don't know. I don't know. He might not. He might not. Ankles are swollen. Yes, severely. Now, here's the deal. I am going to wrap this up because I've got some videos I got to edit and shit like that, and get stuff ready for my wife when she gets home so she can knock out these last few videos. I will be back to making content tomorrow, and have fresh content coming your way over the next couple of days. And we're entering into May. I need you guys to be patient with me in the month of May. Month of May is going to be a motherfucker. Okay, let me just break this shit down for you. I got a concert at the beginning of May. A few days later, I've got my wedding anniversary. A few days later, I got Mother's Day. A few days later, it's my birthday. A few days later is Magnolia's birthday. Somewhere in there, Magnolia's given birth. Tommy graduates. Lily moves out of college. We go down to Orlando for Tommy to compete in the nationals. Tommy is recognized by the village, or by the student board. He's got his 8th grade trip. All of this shit is happening in the month of May. So May's going to be a little fucked. And then I get to breathe for a little bit in June. I got Father's Day. I got a couple of big family birthdays in there, but I get to breathe a little bit in June. And then July comes along. And, oh, fuck, man. I'm just bent over the goddamn counter in July. You know what I mean? Early July, I'm in New York City for a few days. My wife is seeing Bon Jovi. We're going to see the Statue of Liberty, do the whole New York thing. Come back here. I got like a week to chill, and then I'm in Miami to get on a cruise ship and go to Mexico, Honduras, and Belize. And as soon as I get back from that shit, which is going to be towards the end of July, I got like a week to chill, and then Lily gets moved back into college for her senior year, and Tommy starts freshman year. And through all of this, even that month in July where I get to breathe, Tommy is doing weightlifting camp for freshman football. So, yeah, I get to breathe, and then Renee's birthday is in August, right after we move the kids in and get Tommy set up for football, and then he's doing, Saturday football games, then Renee's birthday, and then you get to breathe for a minute in September maybe, and then Lily's birthday, and then we're right into the burn months. I'm already buying Christmas gifts. You know what I'm saying? I've purchased 2 Christmas gifts already. Because, like, this year is fucking gone. And it ain't going to be much better next year. Because next May, it's going to be Mother's Day, my birthday, Maggie's birthday. The grandson turns 1. Huh? And Lily graduates college. So. Fuck, forget about the president having a heart attack. Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, hasta lasagna. Don't get any on you.